What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and the purpose of this video that you're watching today is to address the prospects of every single altcoin in the market right now. What I mean by prospects is the percentage growth capabilities. What is the average altcoin going to do from its current price to where we go by the end of this month of October, by the end of the year, by the end of this cycle? What percentage gains can we expect across the board on average? That's the purpose of this video. If that sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. Okay, so using the others chart, we're just going to dive into it right away. We'll use some other charts if I see fit on this, but just understand that the others chart here is the top. It's the top 125 cryptos, excluding the top 10 by market cap. So this is our altcoin index. It's like the S&P 500, but for altcoins. It's the altcoin 125 minus the top 10. This chart here on a weekly basis says that it's up about 5.2%. That implies then that the average altcoin in the top 100 is basically up 5.3% right now. That's this week. That's what it is. Some are up less, some are up more, some are down. Everything's different, but it's the average coin, right? So using this chart, we can then determine where or what the average altcoin is going to do in capabilities. For example, we take the high here, the current high of this cycle, to the low that we had back in April. We measure from the current valuation. We put it at our minimum fib target. That would be a 81% growth. So in other words, when this chart reaches this, the average altcoin in the top 100, top 150 should see on average an 81% growth. If by the time this moves up here and your altcoin is only up 20%, you have a dud. If it's up 200%, you have a winner, right? You hear what I'm saying? So that's how you kind of base it off of that standard. 81%, your altcoin's only up 70%, your altcoin's up 90%. That doesn't necessarily mean you have a winner or loser. You have one that might just be lagging momentarily, or one that might be doing well just that day or that week. But the average is, the further away from this number, this valuation that you are, the more likely your asset that you're investing in is determined to be a winner or a loser, or something that's average. It just depends on what we do here. So I don't think that we're going to stop here. I'm just using this as an example. I don't believe that our first target is where we're going to stop. I don't believe that we spent a year and a half consolidating in a zone to hit the first target and stop there. I don't believe that you're going to break out to new all-time highs as an entire sector and then stop there. No, I think you've got deeper targets in mind. And really, and I was just, again, using that as an example, really, I think we're going to be playing off of this fib, which is the prior cycle's all-time high back in November of 2021 to the bear market lows in December of 2022. The average altcoin, in my assumption, would see the minimum target of this fib, at least. And this is what we're expecting by the end of October. We're expecting a massive rally, something that picks up the pace unlike anything we've seen this cycle, because that's what we get. That's what we get in moments like this, okay? Whenever we're in alt season, when it's the end of the cycle, look at the pitch. Look at how fast you're moving up here, okay? Compared to other slower parts when you're figuring yourself out, right? Here, you were consolidating for a long time, from February 2014, really, until about May of 2016, for 2 years. And then when you broke out, it was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Where'd you go? What was your first target area from a high to a low here? You went all the way up to your golden ratio. Okay? 2 years of consolidation up to your golden ratio. You didn't even stop at the 1272. Right? Consolidated for a long time. Boom. When you rally, you go up fast. Here, you were consolidating for a long time. Where did we stop? Whenever we hit our high to low. When we actually broke out of this range, when we broke out to new all-time highs, we didn't stop until we went to the golden ratio again. The golden ratio right there. I'm not saying that from here the average altcoin is going to rip up to their golden ratios, or that this is what we should expect, but that number is a 404% growth. I don't believe the average altcoin between now and the end of October sees a 5x. I don't believe that. I do believe that we see some exceptional growth, though, and the minimum target would be about a 2.5x. Okay, I could see that. Alt season kicks off. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is growing. Bitcoin dominance is decaying. We're looking good on all fronts. It makes sense that altcoins, the alt market, might actually come alive, unlike any other time in this cycle so far. And again, let me remind you, back here in November of last year to the beginning of December, in what was essentially 5 weeks worth of time, if we did that same move here, but a little bit stronger, that'd put us at the 1272. Look right here, right? Where we are right now is at the 786, this blue line right there. That would take us just below this minimum target, okay? So my thoughts are this, again, going back, I don't think that we see the average altcoin pull a 5x between now and the end of October. If we do, that's great. That's fantastic. I'm not opposed to it. But I think that's more going to be the outperformers that do 5x's or more. by the end of October. There will be plenty of coins that do it, but not the average coin. I don't think that the average coin sees something of a move that is just barely bigger than what we got last year. I think because we're more developed in this cycle, we're fundamentally stronger. There's only been more benefits to crypto really being integrated into society as of now versus last year. I would say we probably are deserving of something maybe in between. Instead of a 5x, instead of a 2x, we're likely going to see the average altcoin go to about a 3.5, 3.6x move. Between now and the end of October, we're going to get an explosion in this chart. That's what's going to happen. And that's just the end of October. Using this chart again, you can see that right here, the 1414, typically with this area, you actually do wick a little bit above it. We'll hit that $1 trillion market cap. We probably won't stop just below it, but for all intents and purposes, let's say we do stop at $1 trillion. That would be odd. You typically don't stop just below the 1414. You go a little bit through it, if anything, actually. But let's say we do this odd thing and stop here. That's still a 3x. If we stop at $1 trillion as an overall market cap for others, that is still a psychological level of $1 trillion. That'd be a 3x. I think that we'll see a little bit higher. We'll see more of a push, go up to $3.5 million. If we look at this fib here from a high to a low, the 1886200 area encapsulates this perfectly as well, right? Our golden ratios here, adding to the idea that we could stop here, but I think it would make more sense that we see a bit of a faster move than what we had back here, right? We did that in 5 weeks. I think in the next 5 weeks we'll do something a little bit bigger than that. And I would assume that takes us all the way up to $1.1 trillion, but we'll see. Going into the end of the year now, I very much do expect that we will see that golden ratio going into the end of the year. We'll probably find some turbulence here. That'd be about an average of a 5x for the average altcoin. That means whatever you put into the market's 5x on average between now and the end of the year. If not there, I would assume only higher then, not lower, okay? It's very possible that we do see more growth and that we continue upwards and onwards, but something around 2 trillion, if not just below 2 trillion, might be what I would expect. That's end of year stuff, okay? So end of October, likely somewhere in this area. If you have an altcoin that's doing less than a 3x or less than a 2.5x between now and the end of October, you have a dud. If it's something around there, okay, cool, fine, it's on average. If it's outperforming, if you have an altcoin that's doing a 5x or more, you have a winner. You have something that's likely going to continue to outperform the rest of the cycle, okay? Unless it's a random meme coin that just came out. It's a random coin that just came out and it's in existence for like a month or a day or something like that. You know, then those coins probably don't continue to outperform. They're just coming out at high valuations and they're not worth looking into. It depends. Everything's different. Some coins, I mean, Shiba Inu came out screaming and it didn't stop until the end of the cycle. So to be fair, it can happen where a brand new coin can outperform the rest of the markets. It's just very rare. How many Shiba Inus were there last cycle? You know what I mean? Like not too many. Not too many successful ones anyways. Going forward, so this is by the end of October, right? We're expecting a 3x or more, right? If you're investing in crypto and you're not getting a 3x or more by now, between now and Halloween, what are you doing? That's what we're saying here, right? And the best way to get this, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but the best way to get this is to not play the game. You just hold your cryptos. You don't sell them. You don't, buy the high and sell the low. You don't play the game backwards and do things wrong. You don't even play the game at all, even if you're doing it right and buying the low and selling the high. Don't do it. Just wait. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Do whatever you want, but I think the best way to achieve the outcome of the average 3x or more is to just sit along for the ride. You have a ticket. You're on this train ride called Crypto Magnificent Gloryville. Just hold on to your ticket. Wait until the stop is achieved. And by the end of this year, we're likely going to be at a 5x or more. By the end of October, 3x or more. By the end of the year, we're looking for a 5x or more. Something between a 5x and, I don't know, man, maybe a 10x across the board, which would just be nuts. But we could see, I think that's pushing it on the 10x level, but something between that level. Anything that does more than a 10x by the end of the year is a top performer. It truly is. And there's going to be plenty of them that do. We keep going. We go into what I think the end of the cycle will be, which is the 2272, okay? And how I have this mapped out kind of in my head is that, going into the end of October, November, we'll be up here. We'll consolidate a little bit, and then going into the end of the year, December, we'll be up here like this, right? Maybe January we top off a little bit. And then we continue to rally. We have our finale phase, something like that. Or maybe I have it off and we continue to rally going into January, consolidate, and then we continue to rally going into May. But I do believe that the average altcoin is going to top off in April, May, June time. Somewhere in that time. Yes, April, May, June is when I think the average altcoin is going to end their cycle. Not every altcoin. There will be some, and we'll be paying attention. There will be some that top off early. There always are. There will be some that top off late. There always are. But the average altcoin is going to top off in April, May, I think. April, May, June. June sounds a little bit late, but April, May, I feel very confident in. The 2272 is typically where we like to top off. Now, the others chart only shows respect at the 1618, but typically with Bitcoin and other OG altcoins, as we move through the space, typically you see these 1618 or 2272 endeavors. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't believe that by the end of the cycle, the average altcoin is only going to get a 10 or a 5x. I think we're getting that by the end of the year, let alone by the end of the cycle. By the end of the cycle, I would assume that we are literally all the way up at about a $6 trillion valuation in the altcoin space, which would be, I mean, technically this is just the top 125, so not excluding the top 10, so not even the whole altcoin space, but just the focused, condensed kind of top 125 will be at about a $6 trillion, and that's about a 19x from here. So you've got the expectation then that no matter what you're investing in crypto, really, as long as it's something feasible in the top 200, you're likely going to 20x your cash, your capital, right? 19x, 20x, something in that range. You do more than that, you have a winner. You do less than that, you have a dud. And the ones that are going to do less than this are either truly going to be duds, or they're going to be coins like Bitcoin or Ethereum that, you know, they're just not going to keep up with the average altcoin. And that's okay. They've got much higher market caps. They don't need to keep up with the average altcoin. But all I'm trying to say by that is effectively through these fibs, we have it mapped out, I would say. I would say that we've got this mapped out. And if we're looking at this with our ETH BTC pairing here, you can see, and actually it might be better if I overlay it here, ETH BTC. Let's put this in log. We'll zoom out a little bit. Okay. You can see, I hope you can see, that the low points for ETH BTC are exactly where the low points for others was, right? Starts to move up. The high points for ETH BTC, where it starts to come down, is whenever others starts to chill as well. And then when ETH BTC finds its low, that's when altcoins come alive. We consolidate here. That's because ETH BTC was going down right there. ETH BTC comes alive a little bit. Others continues to grow. The altcoin markets thrive. We find our low points here. Others found its low back here, but we started to thrive once ETH BTC found its low. That's when we started to grow. When ETH BTC really came alive, that's when the altcoin markets really came alive. We had a full-fledged alt season. 20 weeks of upside. By the way, on that note, I was trying to work in a way to talk about the timing of this. But on the note of the timing of this, looking at ETH BTC here, notice how this undoubtedly in 2017, this is like that part where your alt market came alive. From the low point here to the high point, it's about 52 weeks, you guys, of alt season. You understand? 52 weeks, really condensed phases where for about 20 weeks here, you rallied, and then for about 10 weeks here, you rallied, right? Months at a time of mania, but overall, 52 weeks, right, from when it started. If you don't like that, maybe we can go from here, when it really started, like this week, maybe 45 weeks, but still crazy. We look at this here, alt season, I would say, didn't really come alive until like this part here. Right, you were moving, meandering, but you see Ethereum BTC's moving, meandering. Whenever it really came alive was over here. Whenever you found like that low and you moved up at a very dramatic pace. From this low to that high, that's about a 20-week period. So 45-week, 20-week period, right? Yes, you continue to grow, but barely, so we're not going to count that. We haven't had that yet this cycle. And I'm going to try to overlay these so that it's easier to kind of digest, okay? We haven't had that this cycle. We haven't had 20 weeks of movement. We haven't had 45 weeks, and I've actually on record gone to say that I believe we're going to do something that's in between both of these. I don't think we're going to stop at 20 weeks. I don't think we're going to stop at 45 weeks. I think we're going to do something that's in between both of these. 20 weeks from here, assuming that we're starting right now, and I think we are, guys. I really do. I think this is the week where we're going to start. I think ETH BTC, we look at ETH BTC here, and you can see on a monthly time frame. Come on now. Let me delete all this. You can see that the RSI is bouncing off the 50. You can see that the stochastics are postured upward, which we're about to get overbought, which typically promotes growth. The MACD is just crossed green. We've got a lot of implications that we've got more to go. The RSI has lower lows in it. We have higher lows in the price. It's hidden bullish divergence. Same thing with the stochastics, and the weekly MACD looks phenomenal. Daily time frame, we're looking like we're about to break out of this downward sloping channel, okay? Lower lows, lower highs. We're still in this channel, to be fair, but whenever we break, I didn't mean to hook it down like that, but whenever we break out of this channel, that's whenever ETH BTC is likely going to continue ramping up again. And when we ramp up, when ETH BTC does these movements like this, altcoins come to life. So I really do think that it starts this week. ETH BTC, if alt season lasts 20 weeks like it did last time, That puts us out to here in February. I highly doubt that we last 20 weeks. I think that it's going to be a lot longer than 20 weeks this time. But I don't think that it lasts a full 45 weeks. However, if it did last a full 45 weeks, we'd be in August of next year. I don't think it'll be 45 weeks. I don't think it'll be 20 weeks, but it'll be somewhere in between. And I feel very confident in saying that it'll likely we will see something that's a sizable bit longer than what we saw last time. So instead of 20 weeks, let's go with like 30 weeks, something like that. 10 weeks out from there, what would that be actually? That would put us in about April, the end of April there. I feel pretty confident about that. I don't think that we're going to see a 45-week period. But again, if we're using this to guess, I think we're being generous by taking the earlier half, right? We're not being overly presumptuous by taking the secondary half and saying this all season is going to continue deep into 2026. I don't think so. So through that, I just feel like that makes sense as far as like when the timing will be. But you can see here, ETH BTC directly correlates with alt season. ETH BTC here is showing signs of strength. We're absolutely growing, right? You can see Ethereum USD is showing strength. We're at $4,500 right now. We're about to break out of this consolidation phase, which in respects to everything means that we're about to break out to new all-time highs. Ethereum's going to be at new all-time highs. Bitcoin's going to be at new all-time highs. Dominance is dropping. And the others chart is ready to go. It's quite literally ready to go because we've been consolidating here now for a year and a half. When we break out of this zone, you guys, it's going to be fantastic. Just like when we broke out of this zone, it was fantastic. Just like when we broke out of this zone, it was fantastic. Just like when we broke out of this zone, it was fantastic. We're going to see that happen. It's all going to come alive right before our eyes going into the end of this month and going into the end of this year, all the way into probably Q2 of 2026 would be my guess. The average move, again, to refresh anybody who's been watching, the average move based off of our Fibonacci retracement and our extension levels actually would be anything from here by the end of October 2.5x to a 3.5x. By the end of the year, 5x to maybe a 9x. By the end of the cycle, we're looking for something around a 20x. Give or take a couple x's here or there, 18x, 22x, whatever. If you have something that outperforms this, if you're looking at a coin that has projections of a 30x, a 40x, a 50x, you can make sense out of that. You're watching your favorite YouTuber, you're watching your favorite analyst on X.com, you're your own analyst and you're drawing conclusions, watching the patterns, looking at the methods that follow, and they're all pointing to something that's larger than a 20x. Congratulations. You've got a winner. You've got a winner. There will be coins that have 100x potential. There are coins now that have 100x potential. There are coins that have 40x potential. In a sense, you don't have to be greedy. You don't have to look so far down the chain that you're looking at random altcoins that have like a $10 million market cap that you've never heard of before, that you're taking a leap on, right? You can buy coins that have higher market caps that have 40x potential or more, and you're still outperforming the market double the performance of the average altcoin. Let alone if you have something that's doing a lot more than that. We talk about various coins on this channel that have 100x potential all the time, right? Coming right off the top of my head, Cookie DAO and Onyx Coin are right off the top of my head there that have 100x potential or more. What other coins are there? Toshi, Turbo has 100x potential. Those are meme coins. There's plenty of them, man. There are plenty of them. I'm drawing a blank right now. I feel like I'm put on the spot. I'm putting myself on the spot. But anything above a 20x will do. 20x by the end of the cycle, 3.5x by the end of October, and then by the end of the year, it's somewhere in between that. So I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you're enjoying the video. I hope you had a good time. If you did, hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye-bye.